Welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, Mae.
I'm Max.
And I'm Ben, and we were had.
Can you believe it?
There are twists and there are turns.
Defleshed is a standard death.
Oh, that's fun.
We were had.
We were.
So,
Today we are talking about the murder. That's right, I said murder.
yes.
In room 1046.
Alrighty.
Wow.
On January 2nd, 1935,
Right.
a man checked in to the Hotel President, which is in Kansas City, Missouri, still in Kansas City, Missouri. At the time, it was a very sort of prestigious hotel. All the celebrities were there, a who's who kind of thing.
In Kansas City, Missouri?
Kansas City, Missouri.
Even then, I'm like, really?
Yeah. Well, if I'm not mistaken, they had the Republican National Convention in that hotel about 10 years before this. Yes?
Yeah, that's absolutely right, Mr. Know-It-All, who was nominated.
Herbert Hoover was nominated.
Damn
Yeah. And can I ask you a question, Ben? Are you deepening your voice because it sounds very good today? Very velvety.
Well, sometimes when I am the one presenting the subject, I like to deepen it up a bit. Yeah.
Yes. I have to say, I am enthralled so far.
Baritone.
Baritone.
It's my normal voice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Early in the afternoon. So this guy checks in January 2nd, 1935. He checks into the hotel early afternoon. He asks for an interior room 7 floors up. Not exactly sure why he is most likely on the 10th floor if it's room 1046. He does get an interior room.
Okay.
He gives the name Ronald T. Owen, which we will later find out is an alias.
Okay.
A Los Angeles address.
Mm-hmm.
He's dressed well in a dark overcoat. No bags.
Okay.
When he goes into the room, the bellhop notices that all he's got is a hairbrush, a comb, and toothpaste.
In his pockets?
That's good. Maybe the overcoat? Or maybe he's got like a tiny bag with him?
It's like overcoat pockets. You can fit a bunch of shit in there.
Maybe he had like a tiny like a little carry-on thing. I'm not sure. No, that wouldn't make... They said
No
no
bags,
bag. I don't
but he
think
had
that they were speaking from the perspective of like spirit.
No check on.
Or like a CVS bag? Like, what are we talking about?
I think it must be in the overcoat. I think that's
Yeah.
Just kind of the big pockets.
big pockets.
Okay.
So he's probably in his early 20s. That's how he's described. In terms of his appearance, the significant things are that he's got a visible scar on his temple, apparently like an intense scar on his temple, and a cauliflower ear.
Like a boxer.
Like a boxer.
Or a wrestler.
When did UFC start?
Joe Rogan was born.
1937. That's not going to work.
So yes, they think that maybe it's a boxer or a fighter of some kind. He pays for one night, and okay, so those are just sort of the general setup. On January 2nd, the maid, Mary Soptic, cleans the room while Owen is in it, and he just sort of sits there with the shades drawn and one tiny lamp on. He's like, yeah, come clean, and he's just like sitting there in the dark.
Watching
Weird. And
this-
Ew.
Oh, I don't know watching her or anything like that. The way that I kind of pictured him is he's just sort of like staring into space.
Just kind of like
transfixed or something. Yeah.
I don't like that.
Like, get out of here. Go walk around while I'm cleaning your room.
Yeah. Or say, come back later.
Yeah.
Or read a book. Anything but what he's doing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
If he were masturbating, at least that'd be something.
Oh, I forgot to mention. He's furiously
His pants are
masturbating.
down.
Yeah. Sorry, little detail. He and Soptic says that he seemed like he was worried about something or afraid. That was the sort of, I guess,
vibe.
facial
Given what we know now, probably yes.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. So apparently this happens a few times, by the way, over the course of these 2 days. This is going to happen.
How often are they cleaning this room?
Oh, I don't know. Like daily?
The hotel president, I guess they're really taking care of you.
I think that that's true. I think that there's a bellhop involved. There are maids involved. There are
it's a nice hotel.
prostitutes involved later on. But
Provided by the hotel. Room service. A quick blowy to room 1046.
give one
That'd be
more
nice.
innuendo.
It's
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's a nice touch. That's classy.
That might have been really a thing. I'm really not sure. So, she returns later, and he's lying in bed in the dark. For people in the video, I'm doing a very not smooth drop of my glass. She returns later, and he's lying in bed in the dark, fully dressed.
Oh.
Weird. Oh, God. Hate this guy.
Sorry. Beforehand, he told her to leave the room, that he's having friends over in a few minutes.
What do you mean leave the room? Unlocked or just leave the room?
Oh,
Get out
I
of
guess
the room.
after, like, he asked her to leave the room after she's done cleaning or something.
Okay.
Why would she stick around?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, can you get out after you clean? I know you guys usually stick around and kind of hang.
Yeah. When she comes back, he's lying in the bed in the dark, fully dressed. There's a note on the bedside table that she sees that says, Don, I will be back in 15 minutes. Wait, Don, D-O-N. I will be
So
back.
man.
Yes, apparently he's like communicating with a guy named Don.
Okay.
And the weird thing is that no one ever saw anyone else enter the room. Okay. So these are the events of January 2nd, 1935.
Day one.
Day one. January 3rd. So in the morning, Soptic comes back.
Now this is day two.
This would be day 2.
Okay.
Yes. In the morning, Soptic comes back, opens the locked door, assumes that the guy is out, and Owen is sitting in the dark again.
Ugh.
He gets a call and says, so he gets a call while she's in the room, and on his line he says, no, Don, I don't want to eat. I am not hungry. I just had breakfast. No, I am not hungry.
Okay. All right.
Haunting.
Yeah, right? It's like
Well, that's
some,
the thing about the story. Like, as it goes on, everything is very matter of fact until it goes very, very wrong.
Okay.
So later that afternoon, Soptic returns and hears 2 men talking inside. So I guess she's outside the door. Hears 2 men talking inside.
This is a nosy ass staff. Can I tell you
yeah,
that?
literally.
Yeah, they're nosy, but then there are also points where it's strange that they're a little too cavalier. A little bit later on. Okay.
Do we ever suspect foul play, or am I bringing this up too soon?
Foul play most likely is the case here, but it's very, very strange. Like, no one knows exactly.
Foul
what happened.
play on behalf of the hotel staff?
Well, let me get to what happened. Let me get to who
I'd
the
like to
victim
jump
is.
around, Ben.
So there's a woman in a neighboring room whose name is Jean Owen. Weird that her last name is the same as this guy's alias.
Interesting.
Wow.
And she hears men and women talking loudly and profanely in room 1046.
She's just clutching her pearls next door.
And the other thing to know about this day on January 3rd that happens is that there's a woman who is believed to be a prostitute, not necessarily a prostitute, but believed to be a prostitute, that goes up to room 1046, but it's possible that she had the wrong room. She didn't go in. Possible that she meant to go to some other room on the same floor, but she's also in the mix here.
I was about to be like, there's no security footage of this, and I was like, oh wait, it's fucking 1930s.
No, we're going way early.
So where was the security footage then? Where did they not have enough cameras in the house?
I guess they didn't have cameras.
So we don't know if she was a hooker or if she was actually even supposed to be going to this guy's room.
Yeah, most likely she was a prostitute, but it's very unclear whether she was supposed to be going to this room or
She had
not.
that hooker look.
I don't know. I mean, like, I actually do get the idea. I mean, you were joking before, but I kind of get the idea that it was a pretty standard thing.
Yeah.
In a
Well, if it's
classy
like a
hotel like
classy
this.
hotel, you know, somebody's gonna. Julia Roberts is gonna stick out walking in through.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. She was a prostitute, but then he
Yes.
falls in love with the
Stick
billionaire.
the gerbil up his
Right,
ass.
right.
That's just Richard Gere in real life.
The gerbil up the ass. No, that's in the movie.
That's in the.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
in the movie.
No, on the cutting room floor.
Do you think that's real? We should do a We Were Had on whether or not.
He put a gerbil up
He
his
put a
ass.
gerbil
That's
up
a
his
really
ass.
good episode.
That's
I don't.
funny.
That's a fun episode, but I don't think it's real.
The gerbil
How could
ass?
you, like, the logistics of that? Your asshole is only so big. Gerbil's pretty big.
Yeah, but if you talk to anybody who works in a hospital, the things that people get inside their ass.
True.
I don't know if
Pretty
you talk
wild.
to anyone who works at a hospital.
Listen, my friend's an ER nurse. I think the worst one that I heard was a butane canister up the ass.
How big is that?
Big enough to make her be like, why did you go for the canister first?
Oh no!
They didn't have a hairbrush or something.
Craziest things people put up their ass.
Yeah.
On the next
Especially
We Were
something
Had.
that could explode.
The what?
Yeah,
A butane canister.
Yeah, that's worse than gerbil, I think.
that's way worse than
Well,
gerbil.
a living thing, I think, is worse.
Why?
The little bones and blood getting in your ass when you fart or something.
Ugh. And what if it like
Eats its way through.
eats its
Yeah.
way through your body? Well,
Was it a
suffocate.
living gerbil that Richard Gere
I mean,
apparently stuck up his
What
ass?
kind of a pervert sticks a dead gerbil up their ass?
Can we just shift to that
It's-
episode? There's not much here in the murder. Let's just go.
It's honestly, I would. Yeah, what's worse, shoving a dead hamster up your ass or a live one?
Well, you got to figure a live one would be the more sexually stimulating one.
How did we
'cause
get
at least
from
they're
gerbil
still
to hamster?
squirming around while they're in there or something?
How did we get from gerbil to hamster? How did we?
Gerbil, I mean.
There was actually a recent article in the New Yorker, And no big deal. And it is...
No, we were recording with a liberal cook.
It's there was a famous French author in the early 20th century, a guy named Proust, and the rumor is that he used to jerk off to rats fighting. And the article is about how, whether it's true or not true, and about how these weird rumors, I guess, involving rodents spread, and they mention the Richard Gere thing in the article.
Interesting.
And it's like the ways that,
Proust famously was an episode of Give Me a Name.
Yes, he was an episode of Give Me a Name. That's true.
Yeah.
And we did not address the rat thing, which is why the episode could have been better.
Yeah.
The whole time I was listening, I was like waiting. I was like, when are they going to get to the rat?
Okay, so back to Richard Gere and the gerbil.
That's great. No, it's great stuff. You're really killing it today, Ben.
I expected a bigger pop. So hot.
It's so hot in here.
Let me tell you something. I'm not sweating, but Ben has been
on the subway down
wet.
here. I looked like Djokovic in the face.
And he kept moving around too, and he was like lifting his shirt, and he was like, "I'm trying out new bits tonight. I'm trying out new bits tonight." I was like, "This fucking guy." It was a shame. That's why I napped before this. I'm very centered right now. Continue, Ben. Go ahead.
So the Pretty Woman situation was going on. Meanwhile, while all this stuff is going on at the hotel, at 11 p.m., there was a city worker named Robert Lane, and he gets mistaken for being a cab. He's a city worker. He's not a cab, but he gets mistaken for being a cab by a guy who's only wearing an undershirt, pants, and shoes. So wearing
a regular outfit. It's a full outfit. I guess
back
undershirt.
I feel like undershirt makes
beater?
it seem like he's yeah.
Like, because back then they're usually in a full suit with like a hat.
Exactly. I feel like an undershirt is like he's naked.
He's naked.
Yeah.
Undershirt and pants. What's he going to a whorehouse?
So Robert Lane picks this guy up. He says that there's a deep scratch on the man's arm, and it's also possible that he's like kind of cupping his arm to catch blood. So he gets into the car. Lane is like, "I'll drive you to a taxi stand."
Okay.
And that guy in the undershirt says to Lane that he swears he'll kill someone for what was done to him.
Who's hearing this? What's going on?
The fake cab driver.
So there's basically guy who's hurt and in his underwear calls for a cab.
He was running out. He ran out of the hotel.
He's outside the hotel.
But we don't know if he was with Owen.
We don't know if this has anything to do with the Owen case. But
it could be Owen.
It could be.
Yeah.
Right.
I see. Okay.
Lane later said when he saw Owen's body, so Owen's going to die at the end of the story. Sorry if I didn't.
What?
Yeah. He said that he saw the scratch that this guy had in the cab. Or not the cab, sorry. That had in his car.
Okay.
What do you mean he saw a scratch?
So this guy has a big scratch. I'm explaining. I don't know why I'm explaining.
Who's this guy?
It's a very simple thing that I'm explaining terribly. There is a man in an undershirt. We don't know if it's Owen or not. Okay. The reason why it's relevant is because it's possible that it was Owen. After the fact, it's possible that it was Owen. But it's just some random dude. He wants to get a cab. He's hurt, right? He's got a scratch, and he's maybe bleeding even more. He calls for a cab, but it's not a cab. It's some city
Robert
worker.
Lane.
And it's Robert Lane,
Okay.
a city worker who is a nice guy and is like, "I'll drive you to a taxi stand. I'm not going to drive you the whole way, but I'll drive you to where cabs are."
Simpler time.
Later on, when Owen is dead and people are looking at his body, Robert Lane says, "This is the guy who is in my car."
They brought in that guy to check the body?
I guess because they found out that this story was going on
Yeah.
around the area.
So this guy ran out of the hotel and was bleeding.
Possibly. Yes.
Possibly. Cool.
Okay. Are we good?
We're good. Yeah.
January 4th.
Okay.
Day 3.
Day 3.
I apologize if I just described those events very...
No, we've
all
come
over
to
the
expect that from you. But
Okay.
please continue.
as long as the bar's low. Just burped in my mouth. January 4th.
Where else do you burp?
No, in. Okay, anyway. January 4th. So 10:46, the room had called, I guess Owen had called for a wake-up call.
I love when Mae just scrolls forward and goes, "How much left to
Acting like she's in church. And it's like,
Jesus Christ. When's the Eucharist?
I'll jump around.
January 4th. Yes.
So this is the day that he's
This is
that he
day?
dies. Yes.
Thank
So,
God. This guy seems like a pill.
Yeah. Boy.
He has he has a wake up call, but the hotel worker knocks on his door because the guy's phone is off the hook.
Okay.
And he was supposed to have a wake up call. So someone comes up, says that the door is locked, but the person inside says to come in.
So he's alive at that point?
He's
Okay.
alive. We don't know exactly though, like what his state is. A person comes back an hour later. They come in. It's Owen is on the bed in the dark. And the guy says that he's naked. He looks drunk. The person who comes in says he looks drunk. This guy, I think it was the bellhop or someone who works at the hotel, puts the phone back in the stand. The phone was off the hook.
Yeah.
And later on says there might have been some dark spots on the bedding, but that could have just been shadows or like lighting or something like that. Didn't really notice anything and leaves. An hour later, the phone is off the hook again. Someone comes back into the room, and this time when they open the door, Owen is on his knees and elbows with his head bloodied.
So weird.
Turn on the light. There are blood on the walls of the main room and the bathroom and the bed.
Oh.
We got beat.
So,
Yeah.
the
But he's
person-
alive.
What's up?
He's alive.
He is still alive. The hotel worker calls for the assistant manager, calls for like assistance. They come back. Owen is on the floor. He's eventually able to get up. He also had been bound with like a cord around his neck and wrists and ankles. And then when they start examining him, his neck had further bruising, so maybe some strangulation thing kind of involved. And he was stabbed more than once in the chest above the heart and has a punctured lung.
Okay.
What did he say happened to him?
So there's skull fracture on the right side. So that's the state that he's in. The doctor comes in. So far it seems like Owen hasn't really said anything. Doctor comes in, asks who did this to him, and the guy responds, nobody.
What?
Then the doctor says, Owen says that he fell and hit his head on the bathtub,
The bathtub stabbed him in the
which
chest.
makes
Yeah.
right. I mean, he probably also is like delirious at this point. And the doctor also asked, did you attempt suicide? Owen says no. Owen then passes out. They rush him to the hospital, dies shortly after midnight. That's all we get from him.
So weird.
It's tough to call this a murder room, though. He didn't even die in the room.
Yeah, true. And this is the only murder in that one room, right?
Yeah, that's a thing that we were addressing before. It's like famously called the murder in room 1046, but there's nothing like spooky.
Well, it's called the murder room, 1046.
Yeah, but it's only.
I was
it's the only-
expecting like 1408. Remember that movie with Sam Jackson?
Exactly. That's what I thought it was too when I
Yeah.
went into it. No, it's just one. It's not like the room is haunted, or
Yeah.
at least
or at least
only
maybe
has
it
Do they
was.
one.
still book people in that room?
they must. I mean, the hotel's open. I feel like it would be weird if they just cautioned that off.
We should stay there.
Yeah, we should record from there.
Yeah.
That sounds fun.
record from. Oh my god, that would
Yeah.
be great. About the Richard Gere gerbil. That's what we'll save the episode
Yes,
for.
it all comes full circle. Let me ask you this. All these witnesses, nobody saw somebody that day? He didn't have any guests?
I don't think anyone saw like a particular guest. I think I did cover everything that we like kind of know with the prostitute, with him going outside, with the
But
city.
you said it was an interior room,
Right.
meaning there was no access from the outside. And you said that the room was...
Wait, what do you mean no access from the outside?
Well, if it's an interior
No
room.
windows.
No windows,
yeah. Or it could still be a window, right? I actually don't really know what interior room
Yeah,
means.
I was gonna ask that. I was like, "What's the fuck is an interior versus extra? Like, isn't everything inside? Where they're like
Interior
outdoor
room
rooms?
Stays at the gazebo room.
Yeah.
And then you said that the door was locked when the people came up to take the phone. So how did somebody kill him from inside a locked room?
That's part of the mystery of it.
Okay, well, are we going to solve it?
No, not at all. Yeah.
Was there any other revelations after the death? Like, did we get anywhere? Have
A
we
few
gotten
things.
any-
So they questioned Jean Owen. That was the person who was reporting before, where I said like the last name thing was kind of weird. She has some alibi. Her boyfriend corroborates it. They kind of let her off the hook. I'm still kind of weirded out by the fact that the last name's Owen.
Yeah.
But she sort of leaves the story at this point. The doctor believes that the wounds happened early in the morning before they first visited him. So probably around like 4 or 5 a.m. So it would be after the events of the guy trying to hail a cab, but before they first walked in for the wake-up call. So basically, all that weird stuff that happened, where the phone's off the hook and whatever, he's already been wounded.
But he wasn't even confirmed to leave or to enter or leave the hotel.
No, not necessarily, unless we believe that he is the guy who hailed the cab.
But then, this is a fancy hotel. Don't they have people working at the front desk? Shouldn't somebody have clocked him coming back in?
I didn't read anything where like someone reports it.
Odd. These people choose to remember.
Probably
things.
not. Like that's probably what makes this thing so mysterious.
Okay.
So, in the room there was soap, shampoo, and towels provided by the hotel, all missing. There were no knives. So probably not suicide. Also the cords. Why would that be suicide? It doesn't really make sense as suicide.
Yeah.
Especially, you can't really beat yourself to death.
It's like that scene in Liar Liar. Like he's just like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
How did he
Famous
get?
suicide scene in Liar Liar.
That movie takes a dark turn.
I like that film.
His stab wounds were not by a knife, or they're just saying that somebody left with the murder weapon.
Left with the murder weapon. So therefore it can't be suicide.
And no one was seen leaving.
No.
No.
You know what? Let me tell you something. This is a mystery.
Also find a hairpin, safety pin, unsmoked cigarette, and full bottle of sulfuric acid, and a clothing tag from New Jersey.
Ugh, I knew it was going to be tied back to New Jersey.
Always.
Which acid is sulfuric acid? Is that the melt the body kind?
I
thought
don't
it's
know.
used for like cleaning stuff. It's definitely toxic.
Isn't it in like a brown bottle? Or no, I'm thinking of hydrochloric.
That's hydrogen.
That's
That's hydrogen
hydrochloric.
peroxide.
Oh yeah.
Oh, hydrogen peroxide, right.
Why did
Sulfuric
our
acid is
parents
definitely
always-
dangerous, but
You're
I
not
think
supposed to put that, and I poured that in every cut when I was younger
Me
because my parents
too.
were like, "That's what you got to do."
Yeah, remember your parents would pour that
The brown bottle,
on
hydrogen
your cuts?
peroxide on cuts.
Yes. Yeah. Are you not supposed to do that?
The 100% not.
Or
you
they would
sure?
pour.
Yeah, I think. I'm
or they
pretty
would
sure.
pour like vodka. They would pour like alcohol.
Okay, well, and your parents are doctors.
They would.
They're also Russian.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true.
They also would just like bloodlet me. It was really
Yeah.
weird. And 4 fingerprints, small enough that they were assumed to be a woman, were found on the room's phone. Not fingerprints that match any of the hotel workers. And
But there was never a woman seen entering or
That's
exiting.
the thing. Maybe the possible prostitute has something to do with this.
They always do.
Later, the big mystery is like included in the newspapers. It becomes a sensational story. It actually isn't that big in the news for long. There's some other murders that go on pretty soon after in a similar area, so it kind of only gets its moment in the sun.
Listen,
for
it's
briefly.
California. No, it's not. It's Missouri.
Well, okay, let's start at the very beginning. And it starts to be assumed.
Listen, we're in LA here, so it's gonna make sense.
A woman calls the hotel president a little bit after the events and says that they knew the person from Clinton a few miles away. And a lot of people are saying that they know this guy, but it's kind of like other cases that we looked at. People
They
want
wanna
to
make it about
lives.
them.
They
Like
just
they
wanna
want to
get
be
involved.
Yeah.
Yeah, people are so weird.
Fucking losers.
So this is when it gets weird.
It's like making a podcast about this shit.
No, it's not that pathetic. They're supposed to have the funeral on March 3rd, so basically 2 months later.
Right.
The funeral home gets a call from a man asking the funeral to be delayed, requesting that the funeral be delayed because he wants Owen to be buried near his sister in Kansas City, near Owen's sister in Kansas City. The funeral director asks why the man was killed, like trying to get more information. The mysterious caller, says that Owen had an affair with a woman while engaged to another woman, and that the 2 women and the caller killed Owen, or had him killed. So some affair drama is the
Okay.
reason for it.
Okay.
And the
That's
caller
kinda fun.
also says, and I think Mae will like this, cheaters usually get what's coming to them.
I do like this.
Yes.
Yes. Words to live by.
This is a rare time that you haven't accused anyone of cheating here yet. And
It's when they're accused that Mae's like, maybe they didn't cheat.
yeah, this guy seems like a stand-up guy. This is a
Just
straight
having a bunch
shooter.
of prostitutes sent to his room. A great guy.
He's a fine guy.
Loyal.
So all this like weird stuff happens. So maybe now we have some sort of explanation of why things happened, although obviously it's still murky. We finally figure out who Owen really is a year and a half after he's killed. That basically all these newspapers throughout the country are circulating the image everywhere, and a woman named Ruby Ogletree sees the image of the dead body in Birmingham, Alabama, and says, this guy looks like my son Artemis Ogletree, who the family hadn't seen.
That sounds even faker than the other name.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, that's true. Artemis Ogletree. Yeah, sounds like some old like literary character.
That's a young adult novel. That's the main character of a young adult novel. Artemis, you have to collect the 7 rings.
So Artemis basically had hitchhiked to California in 1934, so I guess a year before these events happened, and had kept up a correspondence with his mom, but hadn't seen her since then. And then, and the mother says that the scar that Owen had, or really Ogletree had, was from a childhood accident where grease had spilled on him.
Oh.
So it is this guy Artemis Ogletree.
Okay.
Okay.
And Robert Owen was a pseudonym.
Interesting.
Fake name.
Fake name. Alias. Okay. So here's what's really weird. Ruby, the mother, was receiving letters from Artemis, or purportedly from Artemis, after the murder.
Oh. That's really weird.
That's insane.
Now, one of the letters was typewritten, which Ruby was like, I doubt that my son knew how to type. And also, it was written in kind of like flowery, sophisticated language, where Ruby's like, this does not sound like him. But there were letters from New York saying that he's going to go to Europe. All this like claiming to be from Artemis. Later on, this is again after the murder, Ruby gets a call from some guy who says that her son is living in Cairo and married a wealthy woman and is like doing great.
So weird.
There are no steamship records of him going to across the ocean, and there's nothing at the U.S. Embassy at Cairo to suggest that this guy Ogletree ever went there.
Such a random place to choose too. It could have been like London or like.
But nobody was.
Maybe the randomness of it though, like, also does make me feel like that has to do with like that was on purpose.
Yeah.
It just
you're
doesn't
right,
make any sense.
Yeah.
Do you think he like joined a gang or something?
Oh, you mean? Do I think he survived?
No, I don't think he at all survived. I think saying like when he hitchhiked across the country, did he join some sort of gang? That's why at the cauliflower ear he became like some sort of henchman, and they were, but like nobody was asking questions of anybody. I don't know why they kept up such an elaborate ruse. They weren't close to figuring anything out.
So you're saying it was some sort of gang, possibly mafia, sort of wrong place.
I didn't bring it back to the Italians. You did that.
Well, the only reason why I bring it back to the Italians, other than that they're responsible for most crime, is that No, I'm just kidding. Some people thought that him writing to someone named Don, that maybe it meant like Don, like
Don
a
Corleone.
Oh, yeah.
That's about it.
And everyone knows the Don calls you in the morning and says, "Have you had breakfast yet? You want me to get you breakfast?" And then you reply
thing.
saying,
Yeah,
"No,
yeah.
I'm not hungry, Don.
Yeah.
I've already had breakfast.
Of course,
I'm not
that's a famous
hungry."
line from The Godfather. Kiss the ring, eat the eggs Benedict.
That's beautiful.
Thanks. In 1937, the NYPD arrests a guy named Joseph Martin on a murder charge after he killed a man he shared a room with and put a body in a trunk to be shipped to Memphis. This is going to tie in. I know that sentence seemed really random. One of the aliases of this guy, Joseph Martin, was Donald Kelso.
Don.
And so the Kansas City Police Department matched samples of his handwriting to one of the letters that was sent to the mother. Although no charges were ever leveled against Martin for the Ogletree case. I guess the guy was accused of other stuff, and the case goes cold.
What a weird thing. Like, I just don't understand why anybody would write letters to the mom. You know what I mean? Like, what's the point in that?
Just to keep it. Yeah, why, like, make it seem like her son is still alive? I mean, that's just
what's
cruel.
Honestly, it seems like
purpose?
maybe her son ended up being fucking a sick fuck involved in some weird shit.
Yeah, so you don't think... So basically, the theories are... Well, there aren't many of them. There's the mafia theory, which is kind of, as you know, I don't know what the hell's going on. And then the affair, which we hear some info about, but like, I don't know. That's about it in terms of what the hell happened to this guy. And like what we were talking about, like the fact that the doors were locked or unlocked. And
What about a supernatural element?
people think.
Ghosts.
No, but people actually like.
No, I
yeah.
said that with a serious, straight face.
Yeah. No, idiots really think that.
But when they did ask him who did this to you, he said nobody, which could mean a ghost, or it could mean he's trying to cover up something that he's not supposed to talk about. Like if he's not supposed to give up one of the mafia people.
Yeah,
True.
It's too spooky to be just a regular mob case. You know what I mean? They just make people disappear. It's messy. This is ghosty. There's ghouls involved.
I think that the mafia thing makes sense to some extent just because of how, if he's like scared in the room and acting weird. It like seems like something, you know, that he knows something's about to happen. That doesn't. The affair thing is weird. Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
Is it possible the mafia, or if some sort of criminal, did they pay off somebody in the hotel to kill them? Because then it makes sense why there's
That's
so many
possible.
conflicting witness accounts. One of these bellhops just beat the fuck out of him
Totally true. And
said Don sent me, and then the guy didn't say anything.
I think that that's possible. And also the caller said that the caller, and the two women, I guess the mistress and the person and the fiance were like, they had him killed. But I don't think that the caller claimed that they literally did it.
wow.
I'm saying it could have been staff. Hotel staff.
I like that theory. Hotel staff.
So
Hotel
one
staff.
of these people is lying. When they're
Yeah.
reporting all this stuff, I went in and the phone was off the hook and all
Either
that.
that or it was 100% a ghost.
Ghost hotel staff? A former...
Solved.
Yeah, I'm pretty had on this one. I really
I'm
don't.
super had. The injuries are all kind of weird too.
Yeah, he got tore up.
Yeah, the cords, the phone cords.
He couldn't have done that to himself.
Well, and the fact
No.
that nobody overheard this happened. Like, nobody complained about some sort of ruckus,
It was
correct?
that Jean bitch.
Jean complaining about fucking profanity. She
Yeah.
was less upset about a murder happening next
she
door
was,
and more upset
At
that
least he
someone
wasn't
said
swearing
cock.
as he was getting strangled.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, we were definitely had.
I think it was the staff.
You think it was the staff?
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
Well,
the maid did it.
that's all I got. Shorter episode for this week.
How much is it?
Nah, not that much.
Oh, it's not that bad.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see you next week for pigeons or gerbils or whatever up celebrities' asses.
That's right. It was pigeons. It was definitely pigeons.